Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Today, I want to talk about a principle that can redefine how we face challenges, make decisions, and chase our goals, move with strategy, not emotion. Emotion is powerful. It gives us passion, fuels our energy, and brings color to our lives. But if left unchecked, emotion can also blind us. It can make us reactive instead of proactive, impulsive instead of intentional. Every move we make, especially in moments of stress, uncertainty, opportunity, requires more than just how we feel. It requires thought. It requires strategy. Think about chess. Best players aren't the ones who get caught up in the moment. They're the ones who think 3, 5, 10 steps ahead. Life is no different. You don't win just by reacting. You win by planning. When we move based on emotion, anger, fear, envy, even excitement, we often make short-term decisions with long-term consequences. But when we move with strategy, we stay in control, we calculate risk, measure opportunity, build momentum without burning bridges or breaking character. Moving with strategy doesn't mean you lack heart. It means you lead with your head and let your heart support the mission, not override it. So ask yourself, am I moving because I feel pressure or because I've mapped a path? Am I reacting to noise or executing a plan? Because the truth is, strategy doesn't eliminate emotion. It channels it. It turns emotion into movement and movement into meaning. Let emotion light the spark, but let strategy guide the fire. Thank you. Emotion plays a crucial role in human experience. It acts as an internal compass that alerts us to what matters deeply. When we feel anger, excitement, fear, or joy, these emotions signal important information about our environment and our state of mind. For instance, fear might tell us that something is risky or threatening, while excitement can indicate opportunity or progress. In this way, emotion serves as an essential early warning system, helping us recognize when we need to pay attention or act. However, while emotion is invaluable as a signal, it is not a plan of action in itself. Relying solely on emotion to make decisions is like steering a ship based only on the color of the sky without consulting the map or compass. Feeling might tell you that there's a storm coming, but it doesn't tell you which road to take to safety or how to prepare your crew. Emotions can be powerful motivators. They can also distort reality by amplifying certain concerns or downplaying others. When emotion becomes the primary driver, decisions tend to be reactive and impulsive, often ignoring important facts, consequences, or long-term goals. Strategic thinking involves stepping back and interpreting those emotional signals with clarity and reason. It means acknowledging what you feel, but then asking critical questions. Why do I feel this way? What does this emotion mean for my situation? How can I use this energy productively? In this process, emotion transitions from being a raw impulse to becoming a valuable input. It helps prioritize what needs attention but does not dictate the specific path forward. Strategy requires integrating emotion with logic, experience, and vision. Moreover, emotions are often temporary and fluctuate rapidly, which can make them unreliable guides if used in isolation. What feels urgent or overwhelming in the moment might look very different when revisited with calm and perspective. For example, anger or frustration can cloud judgment and lead to decisions that one later regrets. Conversely, excitement or optimism can cause one to overlook risks or blind spots. A strategy, on the other hand, offers a steady framework that remains grounded even when emotions shift. Ultimately, learning to recognize emotion as a signal rather than a strategy empowers us to harness our feelings without being controlled by them. It invites a mindset of awareness and discipline where emotion alerts us to what's important and strategy guides us on how best to act. This balance helps prevent impulsive moves that can cause setbacks and instead fosters thoughtful, deliberate progress aligned with our deeper goals. When faced with unexpected situations, most people instinctively react. Reaction is immediate, automatic, and driven largely by emotion. Often happens before the brain has fully processed what's occurring, and it's typically fueled by instinctive feelings like fear, anger, or surprise. This type of response is useful in urgent moments where split-second decisions are necessary, such as avoiding danger. However, in most scenarios, especially those involving complex problems or important decisions, reacting impulsively can lead to unintended consequences. It is important to distinguish reacting from responding because they come from very different places within us. Responding, in contrast, is a deliberate process that involves pausing to assess the situation before acting. It means taking a moment to breathe, think critically, analyze the facts rather than immediately acting on raw emotions. A strategic response requires cognitive engagement and emotional regulation, transforms an emotional reaction into a thoughtful choice. While reacting tends to escalate tension or make problems worse, responding allows for solutions to emerge from calm and clear thinking. This difference is essential in leadership, relationships, and personal growth. Measured decisions carry greater weight and impact. One of the key reasons reacting can be problematic is that it often causes us to operate in a state of heightened emotional arousal. When emotions like anger or anxiety spike, brain's prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for rational thought, becomes less active, and the more primal parts of the brain take over. This biological response narrows focus to immediate threats or perceived injustices, cutting off the ability to consider long-term effects or alternative perspectives. Responding, by contrast, engages the higher brain functions, allowing for perspective-taking, creativity, and problem-solving. It is a shift from impulse to intention. Developing the skill to respond strategically takes practice and self-awareness. It means recognizing when your emotions are rising and learning to slow down that internal reaction. Techniques like deep breathing, mindfulness, or even briefly stepping away from a situation can create the space needed to move from reaction to response. By doing so, you gain control over your actions rather than being controlled by your feelings. This shift is powerful because it allows you to choose your next move with purpose rather than being hijacked by momentary emotion or external pressure. Furthermore, responding strategically enables you to maintain relationships and credibility even under stress. Reacting emotionally can damage trust and create conflict, while responding thoughtfully often diffuses tension and builds respect. Whether in a professional setting where tough decisions need careful consideration or in personal life where emotions run high, the ability to respond rather than react is what separates short-sighted decisions from effective leadership and lasting progress. It's a key component of emotional intelligence and strategic thinking combined. Success rarely comes from rushing headlong into action fueled by frantic energy or uncontrolled emotion. Instead, favors those who remain calm under pressure and approach challenges with careful calculation. When people maintain composure, they create mental clarity, which is essential for evaluating options objectively and making sound decisions. This calmness allows them to avoid the common pitfalls of impulsive behavior, such as overlooking critical details or acting on incomplete information. The ability to stay centered amid chaos gives a significant advantage, turning potential obstacles into manageable steps. Calculation involves more than just planning. It requires thoughtful analysis of risks, benefits, possible outcomes before taking action. The calm and calculated person is intentional in their moves, weighing each choice carefully rather than jumping in because of urgency or external pressure. This process may slow down immediate action. It ultimately leads to more effective results. By forecasting potential scenarios and preparing for setbacks, strategic thinkers reduce uncertainty and increase their chances of sustained success. Understand that patience and precision often yield better returns than hasty decisions driven by emotion. Moreover, staying calm and calculated builds resilience over time. Emotions run high, people tend to burn out or lose motivation after setbacks because they have invested heavily in the moment's feelings. Conversely, calculated approach helps maintain consistent effort by focusing on the bigger picture and long-term goals. This steady mindset enables individuals to navigate failures without panic, learning from mistakes and adjusting strategies accordingly. Calm presence in difficult situations also inspires confidence in others, whether teammates, clients, or loved ones, fostering trust and collaboration. The contrast between those who act impulsively and those who act strategically can often be seen in the outcomes they produce. Impulsive actions might bring quick wins, but often at the cost of sustainability, leading to repeated mistakes or the need for constant damage control. On the other hand, calm and calculated individuals build success brick by brick, creating solid foundations that withstand challenges and evolve over time. Their success is not just measured by immediate gains, but by durability and growth, shaped by consistent, thoughtful effort rather than fleeting bursts of emotion. Finally, cultivating calmness and calculation requires intentional practice. It involves developing emotional regulation skills, learning to pause before decisions, and continuously refining one's ability to analyze situations logically. It also means embracing the discomfort of delayed gratification, recognizing that rushing into action may satisfy immediate desires but rarely supports meaningful achievement. Those who master this balance can harness the energy of their emotions without being overwhelmed by them, channeling that energy into deliberate, strategic action that ultimately propels them forward. Short-term emotions often act like powerful storms that sweep through our minds, demanding immediate attention and action. These emotions, whether they are anger, frustration, excitement, or fear, can feel overwhelming in the moment, making it difficult to think beyond the present. While these feelings are natural and valid, allowing them to dictate our decisions can be dangerous, especially when we have important long-term goals at stake. Acting on fleeting emotions without reflection can lead to choices that undermine the progress we've worked hard to achieve. One common way short-term emotions derail long-term goals is through impulsive decisions that prioritize instant relief or gratification. For example, frustration with a slow process might tempt someone to abandon a project prematurely or make rash changes without fully considering the consequences. Similarly, excitement about a sudden opportunity might push a person to take on too much too quickly, stretching themselves too thin or neglecting critical details. These snap reactions can create setbacks that delay progress or force one to start over, wasting valuable time and resources. Emotions can also cloud judgment, distorting our perception of reality in ways that harm strategic planning. When overwhelmed by fear or anxiety, it's easy to exaggerate risks and become paralyzed by indecision. The flip side, emotions like overconfidence or eagerness can blind us to potential pitfalls or lead us to unread challenges. This imbalance interferes with clear thinking and causes misaligned actions that stray from long-term objectives. Maintaining a steady perspective requires awareness of these emotional biases and a commitment to deliberate, rational evaluation. Moreover, short-term emotional reactions can harm relationships and reputations that are essential for achieving lasting success. Reacting with anger or impatience might damage trust with colleagues, clients, or loved ones, creating barriers that are difficult to repair. Since long-term goals often depend on collaboration and support, burning bridges in moments of emotional intensity can isolate us and limit opportunities. Sustainable achievement requires cultivating patience, empathy, and communication, which are difficult to maintain if we allow emotions to run unchecked. Lastly, focusing too much on immediate emotional responses can lead to a cycle of frustration and disappointment. When short-term feelings push us off course, we may face repeated failures or unintended consequences that sap motivation and confidence. This emotional roller coaster distracts from the discipline and consistency needed to build toward meaningful outcomes. Recognizing the difference between temporary emotional urges and the steady commitment necessary for long-term success is crucial. It helps us hold on to our vision, even when emotions tempt us to abandon it. Strategic thinking is not a spontaneous act. It is a deliberate process that unfolds over time. At its core, it demands patience and ability to tolerate uncertainty and delay immediate gratification in favor of more meaningful, long-term outcomes. Patience allows us to resist the urge to jump into action without fully understanding the situation or considering all available options. It's about holding steady when progress feels slow or when obstacles arise, knowing that thoughtful planning and consistent effort eventually yield results far greater than hurried decisions driven by impatience. Discipline is the partner to patience in strategic thinking. It refers to the consistent practice of staying focused on priorities, adhering to plans, and resisting distractions that could derail progress. Discipline means following through on small, sometimes tedious steps that build momentum toward a larger goal. Without discipline, even the best strategies remain mere ideas because they are never put into sustained action. Together, patience and discipline form the foundation for a mindset that values process and persistence over quick fixes or shortcuts. Developing patience in strategic thinking also means accepting that setbacks and delays are inevitable parts of any meaningful endeavor. Path to success is rarely a straight line. It's filled with challenges that test our resolve and require adaptation. Patience gives us the emotional strength to endure these moments without giving up or reacting impulsively. It encourages a calm, measured approach to problem solving, helping us remain committed to the overall vision even when immediate circumstances feel discouraging. Discipline reinforces this endurance by building habits that support steady progress. It involves creating routines and systems that keep us aligned with our goals, such as regularly reviewing our plans, tracking key metrics, and adjusting tactics when necessary. Discipline also means managing distractions, whether they come from external sources or internal impulses, and maintaining the focus needed to execute a strategy over the long haul. Without this level of self-control, even the most carefully crafted plans can falter under pressure. Finally, patience and discipline in strategic thinking allow for better decision-making. When we cultivate these qualities, we create the mental space to analyze situations thoroughly, seek input from others, and anticipate potential risks. This thoughtful approach minimizes errors and maximizes opportunities. It helps us avoid the trap of reactive, driven choices that may offer immediate relief but compromise future success. In essence, patience and discipline transform strategy from a theoretical concept into a practical, actionable framework that guides consistent, effective action. Emotions, harnessed properly, can be an incredible source of energy and motivation. Rather than letting feelings scatter our attention or overwhelm our judgment, channeling emotion into focused execution means directing that emotional energy toward concrete actions that align with our goals. This process transforms what might otherwise be chaotic or distracting feelings into a driving force for productivity and progress. When passion, determination, or even frustration is intentionally focused, it becomes a catalyst that pushes us to work harder, think clearer, and persevere longer. To channel emotion effectively, first step is awareness. Recognizing what you're feeling and understanding its source allows you to make conscious choices about how to use that energy. For example, excitement about a new project can be converted into the enthusiasm needed to dive deep into planning and research. Anger about a setback can be redirected toward problem solving or innovating new approaches. Awareness helps prevent emotions from spinning out of control and instead guides them toward purposeful action, preventing the distraction and burnout that often result from unmanaged feelings. Once aware of your emotional state, setting clear intentions becomes vital. This means defining specific goals or tasks where emotional energy can be productively applied. Without this clarity, emotions may lead to scattered efforts or impulsive moves that don't support long-term success. Focused execution requires channeling emotion into prioritized activities, whether it's completing a critical project, refining a skill, or improving a relationship. By doing so, emotions become a fuel source for meaningful work rather than noise that clouds judgment. Another important element is discipline in execution. Emotions fluctuate and can be unpredictable, but disciplined habits and routines help maintain consistent progress regardless of how you feel in the moment. For example, a disciplined daily practice or structured schedule ensures that emotional highs are matched with tangible steps forward, and emotional lows don't halt momentum. Discipline acts as a stabilizing force that keeps execution aligned with goals, allowing emotions to enhance effort without controlling the direction or pace. Finally, channeling emotion into focused execution requires ongoing reflection and adjustment. As you take action, regularly assess how well your emotional energy is serving your objectives. Sometimes what feels motivating initially can become draining or distracting over time, and being attuned to this allows you to recalibrate. Reflection also provides opportunities to celebrate wins fueled by emotional engagement, reinforcing positive cycles of motivation and productivity. This dynamic process ensures that emotion remains a powerful ally in moving forward strategically, rather than a liability that leads to scattered or impulsive behavior. When making decisions or taking action, it's crucial to keep a bigger vision in mind. This overarching purpose acts as a guiding star, ensuring that every move you make contributes meaningfully to your long-term goals rather than merely addressing immediate concerns. Without this larger context, it's easy to get caught up in small, reactive decisions that feel urgent but ultimately lead you off course. A clear vision provides direction, helping to filter out distractions and prioritize efforts that build toward what truly matters. Having a bigger vision means defining what success looks like beyond short-term wins or instant gratification. It encourages looking beyond the immediate outcomes to consider how today's actions fit into the broader journey. This perspective helps prevent choices driven solely by emotion, such as reacting to setbacks with frustration or chasing fleeting excitement. Instead, it fosters a mindset where every decision is weighed against whether it advances you closer to your ultimate purpose. This alignment between actions and vision builds momentum that's sustainable and deeply fulfilling. A bigger vision also provides resilience during challenges. When faced with obstacles or failures, remembering the larger goal keeps motivation intact and prevents discouragement from derailing progress. It acts as a reminder that setbacks are temporary and part of a larger process rather than final verdicts on your efforts. This long-term focus helps maintain patience and discipline, reinforcing the importance of staying strategic even when emotions tempt you to abandon the path or make impulsive decisions. In practice, ensuring every move serves a bigger vision requires ongoing reflection and intentionality. It's easy to fall into routines or habits that feel productive, but don't actually contribute to your core objectives. Regularly revisiting and clarifying your vision allows you to course correct and eliminate activities that drain time and energy without meaningful payoff. This process sharpens your focus, making your efforts more efficient and effective by concentrating on what truly drives growth and progress. Lastly, connecting actions to a bigger vision fosters purpose and meaning, which are critical for sustained motivation. You see how each step contributes to something greater than immediate outcomes. Your work gains significance beyond task completion. This sense of purpose can inspire creativity, deepen commitment, and strengthen perseverance. It transforms routine efforts into purposeful journeys, turning the strategic moves you make into a coherent story of progress toward the future you want to create.